Hello and welcome in. I am MissKinghorn and we are back here in The Sims 4, and today we are building some rental homes. This is actually on the 30 by 20 lot, which is originally the Daisy Hovel lot in Willow Creek on the Foundry Cove neighbourhood. It's quite a small lot, but we kind of pack in quite a lot here. So both of these houses, or bungalows, houses, whatever, are 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. I have done one for like a newborn and one for a kid. Now they are quite small. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I would not like to live in either of these homes, but you know, it is what it is in here, and yeah, they are pretty disgusting, as you could probably tell by the thumbnail. But I have fun doing them, and I'm strangely, I like this kind of dirty, kind of grimy look. I don't know what's on me. I seem to be going back to build this over and over again. Anyhow, yeah, I don't know what it is, but something about this sort of style just draws me back in. But as I say, I would not like to live here. I don't think you would either, but let me know in the comments down below if you have wanted to, or if you've got a sim in mind who maybe would like to live in a lot like this. Yeah, let me know down there. But yeah, the houses are coming together, so they are quite small. As you can see here, they are tucked quite well into each other. In here, there's not a lot of outdoor space, but I'm going to be fair, given the fact that this isn't a very big lot, and the houses are somewhat ish, kind of decent inside, size-wise. I feel like some of the bedrooms are still quite small, but we actually managed to get quite a lot in here. So yes, so the families I kind of had in mind for this, I had a single mum with a newborn in the left hand side one here, and then the other one I had a sort of couple or a single sim with a child as a net, and I kind of decorated them accordingly. I feel like for the second one, like, they don't have maybe a lot of money, but all of their money kind of goes on to the kid. That's kind of what I was thinking when I was sort of building this up. You can see some things slightly do change as we go through. I ended up changing one of the roofing. It just didn't quite feel right. It kind of felt very too dirty, if that makes any sense to anyone in here. But yeah, and also having them on slightly different heights, I think just adds a really nice little touch to them, because it just feels like one's a bit bigger. We do at the moment have this on a medium height wall. I do change that, so all of these windows do eventually actually get changed. That's because I did not realise at this point that we were on a medium height wall until it comes to the doors. But yeah, we sort that out eventually at the end into here. And yeah, one thing I will show you is I only do like the dirtying up on the outsides of one of them, and also on the insides I think I do the opposite of them. It just helped keep this build a little bit, or this video a little bit quicker than what it normally would be, because I've got to be fair, to do these 2 houses, I think I ended up with like just under 4 hours of footage, but that is with me like stopping, looking, researching, planning, coming back, changing a light bulb, then going away, like changing something and then going away again. So yeah, anyway, anyone who knows my style knows that I like to take my little breaks, and I like to have a look at things and do some research midway through. But yeah, I was trying to do here, you know, like one of the aircon boxes that you get in like the windows. I was kind of trying to do one of those. It just didn't quite fit, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to mess around using this, trying to get it to work with tulle, or what is it just going to look a little bit too weird, and I figured it would just be a bit weird. So in the end, I just popped it on the side there. It doesn't really make too much sense where it is for that build, but you know, in the end, it is what you have to do. Into here. So you can sort of see the outsides are slowly coming together. I am now kind of dirtying them all up in here using these sort of, I think they're like mold kind of like the spores and stuff that go on the walls. I love them, but I hate them, if you know what I mean. Like, these are not something I should like, but I feel like this is kind of a build I go back to, like style I go back to quite a lot in here. So yeah, I hope you enjoy all of this. It is a lot of rotating. I kind of pick one item and then I just go round in circles on this build just to kind of bring it all out so that it works. And then yeah, I get dizzy, so I go counterwise into there and then realise that I have forgotten the bit of the ceiling. So yeah, we come back and do that as well into there, and also the back section in there. Right, so that's kind of now all of them magically done into here, and we're now going to kind of finish off working on the exterior. So for these, I kind of had in my mind that they were going to be a little bit like run down, kind of like they're just very close together, and I figured we would sort of get something in along those lines. And so we've got in some like barbed wire we've got in some wire fencing in here, and yeah, just a nice-ish kind of separation barrier here using this sort of fencing. I absolutely kind of love how this comes together. I don't know about you guys, but I love just like the debug fences and how kind of different and yet how sort of similar that they can all just work together into there. And I didn't want it quite all the way, so I've just placed down a little bit of fence here on this side, and then on this side I wanted a little bit more of a hedge because it kind of just opens up into, I think it's like an actual little pathway that the Sims walk through here, and it just like was a little bit too open. So I thought a nice big hedge along that side and some trees. I do actually place another one on the back corner of the other side of that as well, but you'll see that when we come and do the back gardens of both of these. Now obviously, because I am using debug fencing, your Sims will just like walk through both of them. I haven't set like any gardens to either house, so what I did when I tried to do this is I pulled out some like kids activities and like toddler activities that they could do. I've kind of tried to make it so that like the kid house has the kid activities, but obviously your Sims will just walk straight through and they could use both gardens. One of them has like a patio table and a barbecue, the other one doesn't, so if they kind of wanted to do that they can do. That's fine, but obviously I have set this up as a rental, so once they're inside they are sort of in their own homes, as it were, into there. And yeah, I just kind of like this overgrown, kind of messy kind of vibe that I was really going for in this, and I feel like we kind of got that through, especially with some of the sort of outside areas being a little bit unloved, I guess is the word we're gonna call it. In here we've got some tall grass, we've got some tyres, some barrels coming in, lots of traffic cones. Don't ask me quite why traffic cones, but it just seemed to be a thing for this sim in this house. I don't know why, but hey, maybe like they've only just moved in and this is all the old people's stuff or something along those lines. I don't know. You can do the storytelling. I'm just the builder in this scenario. So yeah, I just kind of wanted a really messy, unloved kind of build. It feels like a while since I've done this, so why not indeed place some of those over here. And we've got these sort of dead rose bushes. I absolutely love these. They actually come from vampires, so I don't really use them too much, but I figured that this would be a really nice build just to have like a deadish kind of plant in there, and I feel why not, you know, why not, into there. And a lot of sort of werewolf, Strangerville, those kind of packs that I don't get to use on a regular basis, so yeah, why not, to bring them into here as well. This one I kind of wanted a nice little flower box out the front, just as a nice little pop of colour for in here. We'd also have that sort of barrel out there. I was thinking about placing a tree in there, but honestly it just didn't feel right. It would have clipped the roof, it just wouldn't have really fitted into there. So I've tried to make this a little bit sandy, a little bit more dirty, kind of like the dirt rather than sort of actual grass, because I feel like that just wouldn't really be a thing in here. And then just coming through with a softer brush, just kind of adding some dirt patches to that sort of dry sandy soil that we've got. I was thinking about putting a car in this left hand build in there, just kind of wedge it in the front. It just did not fit, and yeah, it just didn't quite look right to me. So in the end we went for a basketball hoop, because, you know, why not? And also I've placed down a little ball out there for them, so I think I've placed it close enough to the front that it shouldn't clip. I've got to be honest, when I took the screenshots of this, I didn't actually playtest this part, so you may have to like move the ball or the hoop or something like that. But yeah, they can definitely get in the front door of that, and I feel like they probably wouldn't be sitting on that chair. It feels like it's an old dirty chair they're like throwing away more than actually sitting on, if you know what I mean, into there. And now I totally forgot we had this sort of like sawdust sort of sand kind of rug. Rug is a really loose term for what this is, but it's in the rug category. So I kind of figured we could kind of place that down underneath some areas, just a nice little contrast in there, and it kind of fits, and I'm happy with it. So, you know, why not, into there. And I feel like this is probably going to be the sort of done for the front section in here. We do place in a few of these kind of little like paper sort of, I think it's from Strangerville or Werewolves. I feel like they've kind of got the same kind of items in terms of like the live edit. So these are like the secret papers you get from the research facility and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted in here. And now we're just going to place 2 little mailboxes and also get in a street light. I know we've got one in front of the build, but I figured another one on the other side would work perfectly fine in there as well. And a nice little chair at the front, because, you know, it was a nice little area that I didn't really know what else to do with, and it made sense. So yeah, why not? I feel like that's going to be my mantra for today. For this episode, why not? In there, yes, but obviously as they're being rentals, you can kind of turn them into kind of whatever. As I say, they are both 2 bedrooms, although both the bedrooms, or the second bedrooms, I guess, of both of them are quite small. So take that in mind when kind of creating families for them and things like that. But I'm not entirely sure if I want to do this whole sort of neighbourhood in this kind of style. I don't know, part of me really feels like this could be like a really kind of poor, kind of rundown sort of neighbourhood. It feels like it could fit into there. I don't know, part of me really wants to do it, part of me doesn't. So let me know what you think down in the description, down in the comments, sorry, if you would like to see that. I feel like I haven't done a series for a while. Like, we kind of have finished the ones that we had going. I have still got to do one in my medieval file, but honestly, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm a bit burnt out with that right now. So yeah, I don't know, we've got one more to do, maybe eventually, possibly, perhaps. I've tried several different builds, honestly none of them have really worked. So yeah, I don't know what to do there, but yeah, do I start another one? I mean, there's only what, 5 lots in this neighbourhood. I've done one of them. maybe I could do some more. I don't know. Let me know. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you not? Let me know. Down there. But the back gardens are now done while I have been waffling about nothing. So you can sort of see we've got the paddling pool, we've got a slide, we've also got an archery. I don't know why. It takes up a little bit of space. It's a little bit of fun. Maybe it's something the mum does in here. Because this is the one with the newborn. Why you need a slide, I don't know. But anyhow, into there. And then the other one is the kid with the hopscotch and the suntan, sort of the towel out there as well. With the little sharkies on. I thought that was super cute. Anyhow, we also get some little plants out there. And that's pretty much it for the back garden. We do place down some of these sort of grasses, just because this area at the back here is a little bit of scrub and I don't really know what to do with it. I just placed some grass and made it a little bit more overgrown and kind of mixed in with the yuckiness. So we have now jumped in to what is actually the left-hand build if you're looking from the front of this. So this is kind of going for a little bit more of a neutrally kind of colour. And we have got some new items from the marketplace. These are the free ones that they've kind of given us. I don't really know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest. They did actually give us a survey. They didn't like my answers. Yeah, you've done this in the past where you've given us like creator content. It's always been like an XCS drop. It's small enough to be one. Just give it to us that way. I don't like the marketplace. I don't know. I think it's just another way for the Sims to make money. And no harsh to any of the people who are creating items for it. Wasn't that all done on like Patreon? Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I've got the free stuff, but I've not really looked at anything else. So yeah, let me know what you think again down there. It just feels like it's a cash cow 3A again. A little bit of more sort of in-game purchasing, which I'm not a fan of in there as well. But yeah, we're now working on the inside of this. So we've kind of got this kitchen. They do kind of just, both of them actually just run against one wall. It's basically just the way that I had to do the layout in here. It seemed a little bit of a weird layout and there really wasn't much space, and I wanted both of them to have 2 bedrooms. So I really wanted lots of kind of, I needed 2 rooms, and then obviously the rest of it just kind of all got coupled together. And yeah, that's basically what we ended up being left with. I didn't really like where that was placed, and it didn't give us a single free counter, so I moved the lunchbox in there. As per usual, I jumped ahead when I was scrolling for all my items. You're going to see me do that in the next kitchen as well. Yeah, I've got to be fair, I quite like this kitchen. It's simple, but I think it also kind of works in the fact that this is the space we had, and I've kind of split this room off here into sort of like the living area of this being over the other side of this kind of, it's not even a fake wall, it's kind of, you just got like a little separation arch, I guess, beam through here, and we're using the new couch, sofa in there, and then the dining table at the back here as well. I was trying to find the matching armchair. So annoying when we get a sofa suite. Like, this is a 3-seater and there's also a 2-seater, but we don't have an armchair that matches. In the end, I kind of went for this sort of brown worn one, which I think kind of works a little bit in there with the sort of vibe of the build we are going for. And yeah, we're getting in more dirt and more sort of dust and more yuck anus in this area here. But yeah, I think that this build is slowly coming together in there. One thing I have found is if you just take an item like this TV stand here, would look perfectly fine in any kind of family home or anything like that. you just turn it a little bit off of center, you just tweak it a little bit, and it just looks so bad, but yet so good bad, if that makes any sense. Like, it just kind of works for this kind of build, whereas if it was straight against the wall, it just would not fit. So just little tweaks like that just kind of make everything kind of just look a little bit more run down and a little bit more a little bit more gross in there. Lots more of the sort of paperwork and stuff like that coming in here. And yeah, I did say this could be a single mum. It could also be a single dad living here. I've got to be fair, there is enough kind of secret sort of stuff and worn sofas and stuff like that maybe it is a guy who has just found out that he's got a kid and he's now looking after said kid on his own. I don't know, it could just be that it's maybe his nephew or niece that he's sort of looking after. I don't know, you can kind of play this however you really wanted. In here we've kind of got some music, we've got the kind of vinyl player on the wall, and also we've got some sort of vinyl records and stuff, and then we've also kind of done this whole wall. I kind of figured that this person would be an artist. That kind of makes a little bit more sense in just a second when we kind of create the easel and the little art room in this little nook at the back here. So this sort of kitchen area, you kind of have the front door, you kind of have like a entrance hallway table, and then you go straight into the kitchen, and then you go into this art section here. Because we use the sawdust and some of the sort of paint splatter for the walls, I kind of figured we needed to use a little bit more items from this pack, so it kind of all just fits in there quite nicely. And yeah, we can just pull out a few other items from here. So using the sort of ladder up against the wall just sort of works into there, and then we have got some paints and just, yeah, some more to kind of make this area fit a little bit better in there as well. And I was trying to combine those two together just to kind of make that feel a little bit more fitting on that side, but in the end I had to place it on the other side of the door there, but that door just leads out to the back garden, so that's fine into there. And now we're going to work on the main bedroom of this house. In here we've kind of gone for a little bit of a red kind of theme throughout, and I kind of thought it would be quite fitting to kind of bring this in here as well. The lighting in this room seems to be a little bit dark. I don't quite know why, it just doesn't quite feel right. I do end up actually having to put in another little light just because this room is a little bit dark in there, but that is the new mirror. I quite like it. We do also actually get in the single bed from that. It looks maybe too nice for this apartment or for this house, but I feel like maybe it's something like that you found, or that you could possibly get away with that one item that's nice. I don't really know. That's it for all of that bedroom. I don't actually place too much down in there because although I'm not playing on a budget, I am conscious that if this is going to be in a rundown area, I don't want to make either of these too expensive for your Sims to kind of live into here, because obviously they are maybe their first homes or something like that. I don't necessarily know how much it actually takes to rent these, so I will probably let you figure that one out and have a look for that in there. But then this little one here, I kind of wanted to keep it a little bit more neutral, so we've kind of gone for soft greens in here with this ladybird rug. I'm going to be honest with you, I totally forgot we had this ladybird rug. I don't think I've ever really used it except for like right at the very beginning. I actually like it. It fits in here. Let's put it this way, I don't necessarily think it will fit in many other bedrooms that I do, or like kids' rooms, but for here I think it definitely kind of works into there. Fighting with these curtains, yeah. Anyhow, I don't show you both bathrooms in these builds because that just is too long. They look the same, and yeah, it's very boring. Now moving over on to the second of the two houses. So this one I've kind of kept the colour scheme sort of the same, as in like the beige kind of walls, but this one I kind of went for a little bit more darker furniture, and the flooring's a little bit darker and things like that. I just thought the two kind of contrasted quite nicely together, and yeah, this is the one that ends up with the child in it. So you can see I kind of get a little bit more play stuff around in terms of like toys and kids clutter that I didn't in the first one into there. But yeah, I feel like this kind of just, it fits. I feel like I say that a lot on my channel. It's just things fit and how I kind of really want them all to be. I love that sort of plushie that's just been left on the sofa. I feel like that's a very kind of kids move. Like, you know, their stuffed toy has just been put on the sofa, and there's quite a lot of seating options here. So I feel like they've probably just left it there, sitting there, sort of watching over the room, that sort of thing. I kind of liked in my big coastal home that I did last time, I kind of got these pictures out and I thought they were a really nice little touch, and so I decided to place some more down in here as well. And yeah, I just thought this is a kind of a parent that maybe is down on their luck but also takes pride in their kid and loves their kid and takes lots of photos, and they go to the park a lot, and yeah, they have maybe lots of friends and things like that that they kind of have lots of photos of and things like that in here. We have also got this little doll's house out here. The bedroom for the kid is very small, so there's not too much space in there for any sort of toys, so I have placed the big doll's house out here. And you can see I tried to put in the big sort of teddy bear toy that we do actually get into the kids room, just about into there. But this is also the dining room. There's not a separate space for that, so we just have this table pushed up against the wall here, and then trying to find some chairs that kind of fit and work with what I kind of really wanted. In the end, we kind of go for these ones with like the mesh kind of seating. I'm gonna be honest, these probably look really uncomfortable to sit on. I don't know. Into here, and now through this little archway again, we've kind of got another hallway kitchen, I guess, in here. It's all on one side because we end up basically having 3 doors on the opposite side of this wall here, one for the bathroom and then the 2 bedrooms that come off of this hallway. So I did think about putting the table and chairs in here. It just really is not big enough for them. As if by magic, all of my clutter has magically appeared except for the coffee maker that I really wanted in here. So that is going to be on one counter in here. I feel like we didn't do that in the other house, so I decided to do that, and I've kind of mixed and matched some of the items so that it's not all quite so samey in there for you. And yeah, I really like how this kitchen came out. I feel like I've not really done like a straight wall kitchen for a while. Normally I have so much more space. My homes are normally ridiculously sized, so to try and do one or to do 2 on a 30 by 20 it was a fun challenge, I've got to be fair, but I absolutely enjoyed how this kind of all comes together and how we kind of get all of this to work into here. Trying to find the tiles I really wanted to go on this back sort of splashback in here, and naturally I placed the windows in the wrong place, so it doesn't quite fit, and I ended up having to smoosh some things around to get those to work into there. But yeah, now we're going to jump over onto the main bedroom for this house. So it looks quite a big space, but when you actually think about it, it is quite small. So maybe just having one adult sim in here, and then maybe like the kid in the other room, that could probably work a little bit more. Maybe it could be like a grandma who's looking after her kid, something like that, who dotes on the little one but wasn't really expecting to be raising their grandchild, something maybe along those lines. I feel like could work as a nice storage tin. You can see here I've had to smoosh some things around just to try and get everything to fit. In the end, we had to move the bed against the wall, but you can still get 2 Sims to sleep in this bed. You just have to tell them to kind of scoot over, and then they move over onto the other side of the bed for you in here. Again, I don't place too many sort of clutter items. I did want to keep these somewhat cheap houses, so there's not too many like personal knickknacks and stuff out in like the bedrooms and things, but some of the items of furniture are maybe a little bit nicer than probably what they should have been in here. But this is the new bed. It fits in here quite nicely. As I said, this is a small bedroom. I had difficulty trying to get a wardrobe in here. Now, there is a wardrobe in the main bedroom, so you possibly could get away with not having one in here and maybe having a few more toys in this sort of nook or a desk or something. But yeah, I decided to kind of get the wardrobe in there. There is a little bit of dead space behind it, but it just made it feel a bit more like it was a built-in wardrobe. And that's really what I wanted in here. So we're getting the tidy, and we've also got the little car in, and then just some posters on the wall. But we are very, very quickly coming up to the end of this video as we're on the last room. Now, I do go back through and put all of the sort of dirty marks on this house, like what I did on the outside of the other one, but I kind of did that on the inside of both of them, but I show you just this one in here, so you can kind of see how we do that. But yeah, if you had enjoyed this build of my rentals, then make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. You can comment down below, answer any of the questions that I asked in this down below as well. I'm always interested to know what you are liking, what you are not liking, what you are feeling, thinking, anything like that. Let me know, and yeah, maybe something possibly could happen on your feedback. You don't know until you give it to me. In here. Now, this can be downloaded from the gallery. It is up there under Willow Creek Rentals. And you can find me on all social medias for those. The links are down in the description. Just follow the link tree to those, but they are either MissKinghorn or MissKinghornBuilds and things like that. So you can find me pretty much everywhere over there. But until next time, I will see you again soon. But stay happy and stay building, everyone. Bye!